Thank you for joining. Top of the morning to you. Grand Rising. Where my fellow sky watchers at? Come to the live. I've been off for the last 2 days, so I haven't posted a live. I am back. Chilling. Just grab coffee. And I get a little downtime before I have to go to work because I drop Dre off at 6 and I don't have to be at work till 7:30. So I get like an hour and a half to kind of like chill and, get mentally prepared to step into work. How's everybody feeling? Welcome to the live. Black Hand Side. Hopes everybody's starting off their day. It is 6:08 a.m. to be exact. So yeah, I just wanted to get on here real quick. I've had the hardest time loading up a video to Instagram, which normally will cross-post to my Facebook page, The Positive Side of Our Blackness. So eventually I just gave up doing it through Instagram and did it straight through Facebook. And what it is a series of videos across the country, different personal testimonies of what people are going through. There's even one video, I think the chick is in Ireland, because she had an Irish accent. So it's across the world, actually. But I noticed there were some similar consistencies in everyone's story, meaning that in everyone's story, their rent was all going up $300. I thought that was interesting that $300 was the designated amount that people are going to have to choose paying more rent. But everybody's going through this right now, right? And I follow and listen to a couple people who are kind of going through their journey right now, transitioning of what their next move going to be. So apparently the topic of discussion right now is trying to move is nearly impossible, right? So if you're an average hardworking 40-hour check worker, you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about the Beyoncés of the world. I'm talking about the average 40-hour check earning American, no matter what your color or what neighborhood you're living in, we all feeling something. Those who are living in the less better neighborhood are feeling it harder, but have an advantage because they already kind of used to the grind, okay? Those who have lived comfortable are the ones who are feeling it the hardest, okay? And when you mix mental illness, people are suffering because they're stressed out, they're anxious, they don't know what's about to happen. The news is pushing this fear propaganda. And I know I share a lot of videos that might make people uncomfortable, but it is a reality check. I share videos as a reality check, not to fearmonger or anything like that, but as a reality check, okay? As a content creator, I'm across social media, coming across all walks of life, hearing all types of stories, seeing all kinds of drama unfold, and this rent issue is one of them. While you have simultaneously 15-minute cities popping up everywhere, Canada, America, abroad, you got these. And what's crazy is, I used to live in Georgia. I've been back in Michigan for almost 8 years now, maybe going on 8.5. But before I left Georgia, I moved here from Florida, but when I lived in Georgia, they were building, I guess, properties that were like, when you enter them, it's like this big gate, like this big entranceway. You enter them, it's like all storefronts. And once you go into it, you have apartment living on top of the stores and behind the stores. So it's like basically a 15-minute city. They weren't necessarily working in these businesses, but the businesses were like right there where they can just walk out their door and they can get a little Caesar's pizza. And usually Kroger was attached to all of these little miniature subdivisions because it was something new that was coming to Georgia. And I was like, what's up? Like, it was, everybody couldn't live there. You had to, it was like intense to even get accepted to live in a situation like that. And I just remember, I can't recall what year this was. I want to say my daughter was like maybe about 10. She's 21 now. So I'm going to go back about 15 years is when Georgia was implementing these kind of living arrangements, right? So now we're here with 15-minute cities, same type of concept, but it's attached to a corporation. And I just find it interesting that Kroger was one of the first corporate entities I saw attached to a living arrangement like that. So now they're talking like, Amazon is doing it, Walmart is going to do it, and no telling who else, right? So it had me thinking like, wow, rent is really crazy. I'll share this story. I have a story time. Like I said, I'm an essential worker, and I was an essential worker before COVID, during COVID, and after COVID. I commute an hour to work. Not because I want to, but because I'm forced to. And I've been doing it for at least a year now, okay? Which is way too long and crazy because one of my pet peeves is commuting. If you ever lived in Georgia, you'll understand why. All right? So we were planning on moving. We're like, okay, we're going to move, relocate, because both our jobs relocated. We're going to move closer to work. I put an extensive search for apartments and came up with my list, and this was like mid-COVID. Kind of like when the apartments stopped accepting applicants, and that's when I was running into brick walls because I was trying to get into places and they would not accept applications. They were just not accepting anybody. And so I'm like, okay, COVID, no problem, understandable. I can't help this, right? But I still had my list of all those places that I had looked because I knew once COVID lifted, I was going to go back to that list and do my search and pick something from that list because all those apartment properties were places that I would want to live. Get this. COVID kind of eased back. Stuff was opening back up. I'm like, okay, time to make this move. I'm 6 months into commuting now, right? And that's when gas was damn near $7 a pop, and we were commuting an hour both ways. Crazy. Okay, so I go back to my list, go to these same apartments, no extras, no new paint, no nothing. They all wanted at least $1,500 more, depending on where it was at, about $1,000 to $1,500 more than what they were previously asking for 6 months prior. And it was mind-boggling because I'm like, wait a minute, and it was every last one of them. And like people are saying, these weren't apartments that were in like the best of neighborhoods, and they weren't in the worst of neighborhoods. They were average. Okay? And it's like, what are y'all talking about? Like, why is everybody raising the rent? So we said we're going to wait for this to die down. Apparently, it hasn't died down yet. 6 months or a damn near year in, we're still commuting an hour to work. And because we're not going through this rent increases because when we had made the decision to move, we got out of our lease. Well, we didn't get out of the lease. When our lease was done, instead of renewing the lease, we went month to month. So mind you, we were paying more rent, which was kicking our butt, high gas prices, commuting, and it was just a very highly stressful time, but we got through it, right? So it's like, are you kidding me? Like, we can't even move. So we're dealing with the fact that month to month now is cheaper than most people are paying in a lease agreement. and they can't go up on us being month to month. That amount just kind of stays stationary. And I was like, we kind of lucked out on that. Well, we ain't, yeah, we were paying more in the beginning, but we've gotten used to that hardship. We've accommodated it into our budget, but we're still paying the same price, the same rate, while everybody else is going $300 to $500 more in their rent for the same apartment. Now, our apartment is doing little fixer-uppers, this and that, coming in. And I've been home off for those 2 days when they was trying to come up in the apartment and do little stuff. They even getting, now they're not raggedy, they're just old, right? And we don't have the up-to-date appliances, you know what I'm saying? But we're not paying $3,000 for rent either. If I'm paying $3,000 for rent, I'm expecting the top of the line, all amenities included, and a freaking something to look at that's pretty, like homegirl said. But it's almost like these rental properties are forcing people to stay put, which, based on the COVID intel, most people are still in those addresses from which they collected during COVID. There's been very low mobility amongst Americans because of this spike rent, okay? I've been affected by that. I've had to make decisions behind that may have not be suitable for my lifestyle. Okay? Coming out of pocket. No room to save no money because everything's going out. We were spending damn near $100 to $120 a day in gas alone. A day. And my car is an E85. I was getting a little break at the gas pump. Just a little bit. But, so I'm connecting these rental properties by basically keeping people at bay because they can't afford to move in, because they're saving those properties for these corporate bids that are going to start coming in. When, these corporations are buying up places. Next time you look, if you got an Amazon in your city, look at where Amazon's located. Our Amazon that's here has nothing but apartment complexes across the street. It's on a main hub, like almost kind of like not a freeway, but it's like a wide street with a lot of traffic. But across the street from it is nothing but apartment complexes, about 2 or 3 of them. And with all this talk about the 15-minute cities, I'm like, dude, that now we know why they picked this lot, so they could be across the street from all those apartments, which is occupied by immigrants. Okay? Which goes with how much, what was that number? 330,000 immigrants came in Ukraine, and no telling what else, which I like to refer to them as agents of chaos. They're getting all the perks. They're the ones who are getting all these little hookups and moving into these places and being assimilated quietly. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Out of sight, out of mind. Meanwhile, Americans, who our grandparents fought in wars, are, online begging for money to help pay basic bills. Just to eat. People are online begging just to eat. And I hate to say the word begging, but people are online asking for donations so they can get by. Let me be more sympathetic to people's situations, because, everybody's damn near 2 checks away from being homeless. So I say this to say this. I say that to say this. You got universal pay looking more appealing to Americans every day. And when I say white America is going to run to universal pay with their arms wide open, look at all the people suffering right now who ain't used to suffering. They're not used to that. So yeah, they're going to run to something that's going to help them out. And Black America is going to be seduced into digital currency by finally getting our reparations. I believe, my theory, that's how they're going to roll out digital currency. They are going to give Black Americans our reparations. Okay? We're going to occupy these new homes, these new apartments. White America is going to take that universal pay. Most of them ain't work. Most folks ain't working anyway. So do you see where they're directing the herd towards? They're directing the herd. So I just had to say that and get that off my chest, because there's a lot of controversy going on around this rent, and I just really think it's just the catalyst to introduce universal pay to struggling Americans. Ain't nobody thinking about no guns if they ain't got no food in their belly. Because I keep seeing, oh yeah, they ain't doing this. That's because, we're still armed. Yeah, but if you're starving, you can't hold a gun to shoot at nobody, because you're going to be too weak to do it. And this will be after you don't fought each other for resources and food, because they know we're around, but you got your neighbor there. That's easy, that's easy access. So after you took out each other, now the herd is even more thin. And out of that thin herd, most people are hungry, starving, and are the weakest link. See where I'm going with this? So, just something to take heed on when we have to start thinking about being more neighborly, being more civil, understanding people going through things, and you can't just be all up in people's faces because you having a bad day. Just understand that somebody else is having just as bad day as you are, if not worse. Now, I got about 30 minutes before I have to get ready to go into work. I wanted to touch on this supposedly China, weather balloon. Now, in some shots, some pics, you see, it looks like a balloon. But in some pics, it looks like a spear. This like silver spear. Now, I don't know if that is a combination of photos that is the balloon mixed with photos that is actually a spear, and they're trying to say it's the same thing when they're actually two different things. I think that's what's going on. Okay? Hence why I shared, if you've never watched what was that called? What was it I just shared? That video where they have the silver spear, and the lady is like, everyone's having the dream. I think it's called The Prophecy. I gotta look at the title again. But yeah, and I'm like, damn, okay, this movie came out in 1991, and now we're seeing on the internet nothing but these balls of these spears that are like just hanging out in the skies, like not really doing nothing. Now they're moving. You're catching these videos where these bad boys are moving. And somebody commented on Facebook and was like, maybe these aren't aliens, maybe these are angels. And I'm like, what if they're one of the same? They're two of the same. We're calling them aliens, but they're actually angels. Or whatever. And then angels might not even be the right term for them. But I'm going to tell you this. America ain't controlling that. That's something else going on. And America has done a very good job with presenting itself as the boogeyman. Like, we're this big bad wolf, and I can come and tear your house down. I don't think America is at the top of the food chain anymore. Does it feel like America's at the top of the food chain? I mean, if you listen to or seen anything Kamala Harris has said recently, look, come on now. This is all what I used to call it, a Shakespearean political theater. Trojan horse. Like Obama was. Obama was a Trojan horse. He came in and dazzled and frazzled and, talked his way into our hearts and minds. And not a goddamn, sorry, let me calm down. Not a thing got accomplished, not a thing got done. You see what I'm saying? So, we got his sidekick in the White House now, Biden. And it's even worse. Come on, people. So, a lot of people are getting stirred up by the so-called weather balloon. I believe it's two different things. I believe there are two different things happening at the same time. You got these spear balls that are appearing in the skies. I've shared a couple of those videos, and they're all over TikTok. And then you got this story simultaneously coming out of the mainstream media, talking about a Chinese weather balloon. How does a weather balloon from China make it all the way to America? I'm just asking. I'm not no geography professor or anything, but I mean, come on, people. And we know the government is lying. We know our public officials are fraudulent, bought and paid by the highest bidder, bought and paid for by the highest bidder. The White House is a circus. It's a laughing joke of the political structure. I said with Trump, that was the last American political race we will ever witness. Now, there was, because the one and only time I've ever voted was during the Bush and Kerry election. That's when hip-hop was involved. You know what I'm saying? Diddy was trying to get everybody to vote in the black communities. I got crunk. I was like, okay, yeah, we got to get Bush up out of there. Bush Jr. got to go. Anybody better than him went in, voted, and when that man still won, I knew in my soul we had all been bamboozled. That it was fixed. It was fixed. Kerry was never gonna win. And then I didn't vote again until Obama showed up, which I was confused. Like, Obama, Osama bin Laden, like, what's going on? Like we were still caught up in an old headline with Osama bin Laden, and then you got Obama coming in with a similar name, and then we all confused, like, how this black man stepping into the White House? We all drank the Kool-Aid. We all drank the Kool-Aid, and now you got the sidekick Biden in the White House, and you questioning why things are worse? No, it's all by design. We just gotta see it. We just gotta see it. So, I just had to get on this morning and have my little rant, without sounding crazy, but, it's not hard to see the breadcrumbs. It's not hard to connect the dots. Because, these people aren't very smart. Because at this point in the game, they don't even care no more. Because that tells me that the war has already been lost. The plan is, how do we convert Americans into what we want them to do with at least amount of bloodshed against the elite and those holding the strings. Now, they can kill each other all they want. But how do we keep a revolution down as much as possible? Isolated incidents, go for it. Go at it. But we don't want no revolution. We don't want black America and white America combining forces. They don't want that. Because that'll be a motherfucking... Let me calm down. That will be a force to be reckoned with. Okay? That would be a force to be reckoned with, y'all. So... it's crazy. The news is getting crazier and crazier. And with the weather being off and grimy and gloomy, people are feeling some kind of way. And I just want to put out there, just be careful in how you treat others and how you speak to others, because people are looking for a reason. People are looking for a reason. And then what that, when you consider the jibby jib jab jab, you don't know what folks is going through. So I don't know. I can't read the comments because I'm driving now. And I just want to get on here and do a live because I said I was whenever I go to work, and just remind you guys that please subscribe, because I do have a goal that I'm trying to reach before my birthday, which is March 22nd. I want to at least have 10,000 subs on TikTok, and to galvanize an audience to my YouTube channel, The Black Hen Side, and also my second channel, The Black Hen Side Marketplace. Okay? And if you're looking for a diverse, engaging group to be involved with, go to Facebook to The Positive Side of Our Blackness. That's a page with all walks of life, with a lot of engagement. You can join in at any time you feel free. Okay? And let them know you came from TikTok. That'll be cool to read in the comments. Let them know you came from TikTok, and they'll welcome you with open arms. Okay? So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end this live saying, protect your works by any means necessary, and keep your head on a swivel, because it's getting crazy out here, y'all. Okay? Thanks for joining the live. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you all have a safe and blessed day. Peace.